I think we can start. I activated the recording. Welcome everyone to this Library Science Talk. It's the last Library Science Talk of the season 2022. My name is Tullio Basaglia. I'm president of ALIS and I work for CERN Scientific Information Service. The topic of this evening is the WHO COVID-19 research database, behind the scenes of a super powerful tool, exclamation mark. And the speaker that we welcome is not only a speaker, he's a colleague and he's a friend of mine. José Luis Garnica Carreno has worked in the language and library services of the FAO in Rome between 2000 and 2014. Since 2015, he is a member of the evidence retrieval team of the WHO library based in Geneva. José is the co-founder of the WHO COVID-19 research database with a dear colleague, Thomas Allen, who is no longer with us. Unfortunately, a colleague that I remember very well with a lot of, commotion, okay? So the preferred title of José is the library guy, and he will tell us why in his presentation. But he's been joined by two other colleagues. I see only one, but okay. Two colleagues, Silvia Alvarado-Wu and Tinashe Zavazava, I hope to pronounce them well. Look, without much ado, I give the floor to José. Please, José.
Okay, just to confirm if you see my screen, right? Do you see my screen? It's perfect. The only problem is I have it on my right, and then I'm going to try and see if I can. Okay, yes. Let's start with this story. Once upon a time, in the Who Library, Thomas and I, represented by these two famous guys from this famous movie called Back to the Future, we're doing some normal normal library work. We were working on different projects, and I remember Thomas having great ideas and me new in the library in 2015 trying to understand what he was talking about. He was really thinking about many projects. We were offering services to our users here in Geneva, also in the rest of the world, because we make part of a big network, and also there's 6 regional offices in WHO. So we were in this office called the Library Lab, sort of. We used to call it like that because there were projects being created. And our policy, as you can see on the right here on my screen, was please disturb me. Very important for the creation of this project. Why? Because we were open. We had our door open all the time. We were receiving visitors all the time, and we were listening to them and then knowing or trying to understand what their needs were. So we were always open. I remember I was at the reference desk also in the old library where we were before moving to this new laboratory that we have here in an old building, because we moved all our collections and we're becoming fully digital this year too for that. So we were together there, and I remember one of the senior leaders, it's been our chief scientist, Mrs. Sumya Swaminathan. We were working at the end of 2019 when the pandemic started. Something happened in the world, and then senior management asked if we could help. So why? Because we were known as the library guys. We were in the WHO library. It was Thomas and I, and then also Ralak, who's my colleague, also working in the same team. We were consulting all the time for any new things and problems also. So they were asking, how can we really gather all the real-time information from scientific literature with this new virus coming? So they say, let's ask the library guys to see if they can help us with that. And that's why my preferred title is the library guy, because with Thomas and I and Ralak also, we used to be called the library guys. So these library guys were asked to start looking for evidence on this new virus from scratch. So Thomas and I started this adventure in early January 20. I remember being with Thomas in the laboratory, in the library lab in the office. He was searching manually the core databases like the Web of Science and other databases to see if he could find any evidence. And I remember the first days he's saying, "Oh, Jose, there's nothing. Only a few citations on MERS, only one or two, or respiratory things." And then the second day, Jose, there's only one more. So I was compiling them in a Word document. And then we were supposed to be sending them to senior management to see if they could start doing some daily decisions on the COVID pandemic. So it started like that. Then the fourth day, the week after, it's been 8 citations, 10 citations, 12, 20, 30, 40. And then the Word document was really not enough for that. What happened then? There was a team in there, some scientists who were helping us doing some classification, tagging these citations we used to find, and they were scientists here in WHO. So we were giving them these citations. They were doing their best in this Word document, tagging them, classifying them, and then also excluding those who weren't really related to respiratory problems. So this was the start in our laboratory, and you can see if you visit the Wayback Machine with the link of the WHO COVID-19 research database, you'll see some pictures being captured of the database, and you'll see how it started. I invite you to see also this, because it's very nice to see progress and it's being captured in there. So after that, we can tell, to summarize, that the senior management, especially some experts in WHO, started requiring this real-time information from scientific literature. So this started in our laboratory with the Please Disturb Me office, and they came with this idea, asking the library guys to find this. So the original scope was any published literature on a newly identified virus for the first time appear in Wuhan, China. So we started compiling this literature from databases, as I mentioned before, and also from publishers' websites. Why was that important? Because in databases, you find citations once they are collected, identified, and indexed. And in magazines or newspapers or things like that, there were a mention of some different studies being done. So we were visiting directly different websites like Nature, Science, and other websites which were indexed in databases. So we were really ahead of those studies, and we started compiling them for internal use only. And this was the situation in those days. It's been fully done manually, hand searching, and we started compiling that in EndNote because it was the most robust reference management system we had. And we used to do it 7 days a week, long hours. I remember working 16 hours a day. Also Saturdays and Sundays, evening after my weekend with the family, I remember starting to work at 10 o'clock in the evening on Sundays, just to have everything prepared for Monday, so that it could be done, made available the day after, because it was daily, and they were counting on that daily real-time information to make important decisions on the pandemic. So we were the library guys working there, finding this information, and they were really happy with that. So as I mentioned, it started as a Word document, and it was a community bibliography, and some experts in the house were doing manual tagging. And then after that, something happened. Researchers, experts outside WHO came to us and tell us, we want to help you with this. So this small thing document in Word, we started distributing to them also. So I started adding emails to this email account I have email, let's say, group of emails I had. And then there were too many in the end. I was adding every day at least 20 people who were interested in these bibliographies. So the collaboration with global experts started, and this really forced us to start thinking on a new way of distributing these bibliographies. So we found out that we needed to share these bibliographies with them, but we didn't have any experience on sharing platforms. And teams arrived in those moments. So we did some quickly training on Teams, and a group was created for that. And we were adding all of these users, and it was working like a repository. We were storing these bibliographies in Word documents with the link to the full text, which pointed to a repository in Teams. That was the only way to start sharing these bibliographies. So we were a little bit confused on how to better do this. So we needed to start also looking for a solution to do some compilation, automatic compilation, and then also revision for from these experts. So we got Distiller Covidence. It was the solution we had for that. And we started storing all citations there, processing them, tagging them, and putting them into Teams in those times. So it wasn't that good, it wasn't that sustainable and working long hours for that. So after that, we contacted someone internally from the IT department, and we wanted to make this available to more people. So we started using BI technology, Power BI technology, and that was the first rudimentary database we had. So we found someone here in-house, and Eleanor, and she migrated my Word document sort of, or it was more an Excel produced than in Covidence. So we had these citations being displayed live in this link. So people started visiting that, and I was putting the files in EndNote or CSV for people to download, because they wanted to create also other databases. But it wasn't sustainable. People wanted to be able to have an interface which they could search, also interoperable with other systems, and also be able to download what they wanted and search the interface. So we said, oh no, this is really, what can we do with this? So we've been investing hours and hours investigating that. Unfortunately, Tini wasn't here working with us because the pandemic started, and I repeat the same all the time, because she had the expertise we didn't have, so she couldn't help us at all because everybody was sent to home, and so we were working always on our own, Thomas and I, doing this for many, many months. So in the end, what happened? We continued, and we explored the possibility of having a real database, an interface which could be searchable, also with filters, also with possibilities of exporting, and a real database. This is what we needed. So we contacted BIREME, which is the technological arm for WHO. We already had a database called Global Index Medicus running on a real database platform, and we thought we could reuse that model to host our newly born database. They accepted. So I started doing the migration. Well, it was really hard with me not knowing a lot from technology, but I then asked the help from people in the department here, in the IT department. And we started moving all of this information there, all the citations. So they were testing, and then we had this interface. So we started a real database with a few citations, and there were 1,000 citations, if I remember. And now we can describe the new database how it is. Now it contains 700,000 citation plus citations in around 70 languages. So see, this is the momentum now that we can describe for this database. And we started searching 100 sources at the beginning, more or less, from websites to also databases and other resources and repositories also. Then we downloaded to 50 sources, more or less, and we have refined that to 20 plus resources, what we're searching, more or less. And Tini will be really attentive if I miss any of the numbers. And we remember that since the beginning, we were doing daily updates. After more than 2 years, we still have daily updates. This is a great value. And Tini is working hard on that just to guarantee that every day we have citations. We started from Monday to Friday by just to avoid me working on Sunday evening. It was being proposed to make it from Tuesday to Saturday. This has been a big change, and it's been recent, not that old. And also, these are some interesting numbers. Over 92,000 citations are processed monthly. Can you imagine the amount of literature that is being produced on COVID-19? Remember that we found only one in early 2021, 8, 10, 40, and then hundreds. Now we're dealing with 92,000 citations being captured daily and then processed. What happens with this? Then what it happens is that it's deduplicated, and Tini is the expert in the team for that. And we're adding to the database every month 25,000 citations. And the thing is that we have people searching, also still manually searching, and it's Kavita Kotari and Martha Knut, and they're still working on that very hard to guarantee daily updates. So thanks to them for that. Also, thousands of duplicates have been removed recently. Also, there's a new development that I'm going to mention about. And there's around 6,500 active users daily using the database daily in 200 plus countries. So can you imagine, before we were really in an office sharing it with a group of 14 people, then it became really bigger and bigger. And then now many active users daily use this database. So we never imagined this was going to end up like this. But we started 2 people, Thomas and I, in our laboratory, and we were doing a massive work. And then we said, oh, but we were alone. Probably we need some collaboration. So we started first with Bireme. Then we created a big network called EEC 19 also, which was it was like a forum for all of those working on that. And we discovered that there were many initiatives around. So first mistake, and I'm going to talk about that in the lessons learned part. Then Cochrane joined, CDC, Library USA, and others joined the Gorn Library Reserve Corps. Volunteers also helped us, and that's a very high contribution, because what they use, and I can mention that, was to simply go through those citations which weren't good and then say, this is not COVID-19. They were really doing the screening. After those experts we had in the house, we assigned this part of the work to the Library Reserve Corps volunteers, who they are still working with us. Elsevier also intervened and helped us deduplicating. CEPA also is another initiative. ACDC Library Europe, Indonesia country office, the WHO China collaborating centers, and also Epistemónicos, evidence partners, and RiskClick. RiskClick is the newly.
José,
yeah, sorry.
What about the Japanese people that are sending us also citations?
Okay, so good. So we need to add that too, because it's missing from here. It's an update to this. Thank you very much for this, Tini. So as you can see, then we have 7,000 plus, and this is the interface. And what is interface and what is behind is this. This is the behind the scenes now. You know, when we're searching, in our case, we've been searching many resources. And in order to search, for example, Embase or PubMed or websites like those, you need to have a search strategy, and you have to build it for every single database. So this is one of the values of the database. What Kavita and Martha do is they go and search individual databases using the best language that they can do, just to retrieve the best results. It's like bringing liquid gold from the mines, sort of, you see? So for example, in order to search the PubMed database, you need specific language and then commands in order to create a search string. You can see an example there. Also with Embase, you need to do that. Also, you see it's a different structure, syntax, and then you need to tailor that for every database. Can you imagine one researcher doing that on his own in many parts of the world, trying to get evidence from different databases? It's crazy. Efforts, also duplication of efforts, time, money, resources, and who name it. So we wanted to make the difference without knowing, and this happened. And making the difference was to have already, which is available on the internet, a search strategy by database, and it is available on the internet under that website. And then you can see how Martha and also Kavita have been working on that very hard to really tailor these search strategies and make them the best ones in the world for those databases, because they've been dedicated to that. They have been working and collaborating with other expert searchers, and this is also collaboration that they've been doing. So this is the value, one of the biggest values of the database. Do you remember the number of citations being collected every day, every month is 92,000 plus, no? And this is thanks to this, and then they are deduplicated and then put into the database like that. So this is one example of what we usually do. If you find in the title of a publication COVID-19, then SARS-CoV-2, or in the title 2019 CoV, those are terms that if you search individual databases, you won't have good results unless you put them together, process them in a computer. And then you have the volunteers from the Library Reserve Corps, GORN, and they go through those and identify things like coronavirus, lockdown, pandemic, and these terms to decide on the quality of the citations. So this has been human all the time since the beginning. So this is simply great, because the COVID-19 database is a database for that specific topic, and then you don't need to even put that term because it's on COVID-19. And this is the how it is working. So again, the database, you see there's some basic searching. You can now have filters. Before, when in a Word document or in different databases, you need to inquire every database and then do filters for every database. With this interface, you can do these queries using the filters we have. There's filters by database. These are some, then main subject and also language. You can narrow down your results. And can you imagine also using the amount of citations we have? You need to narrow down them and then export in RIS, CSV, or any other formats too. So yes, we got an award because this Word document became really a big database, and it's been selected, as you can see, as the winner of one of the best resources available now for this kind of studies. And this is the one we have here. We're going to put it here in this laboratory in the office. We still have it somewhere here. I don't remember where it is, probably that there, yeah. And we haven't had the time to put it somewhere here. And this is the current workflow, just for you to see that behind the scenes a little bit in WHO. And this is thanks to Tinashi, who's been working very hard recently on this. And you can see little things. If you have questions, don't ask. I'm not capable to explain that immediately now, but we have Tinashi and also Tini. They're able, because I was more concentrated on the beginnings. And this is this is in WHO. And then this is BIREME, the one in Brazil. This is the workflow they have for that. And you see how a Word document became a real complex database, which is high quality control and also removal of duplicates, which is more or less 5% of the content is duplicates. This is the last confirmation we had. So in the end, the WHO COVID-19 research database became a monster. So it's unmanageable. You can see we need to feed the monster with books, cookies, is daily citations, still a lot of thousand citations. So he's really putting pressure on us. You see, we're really overwhelmed with him. This monster is telling us, ha, I'm dominating you, and you will need to continue feeding me. Yes, this is the point now. We're many people working. We were 2, we're now 3 here, and there's a team of 10 volunteers also from doing the screening for good citations, and there's 2, 3, 4 people or 5 in Brazil, in Bireme. So the 2 became more people, and this is one of the also reflections we need to do before embarking on something like this. You need to make sure that you have the right resources. Why? Because here in WHO, they've been approaching us because we did a presentation for the organization, and they say, oh, we need to do a database similar to the one you have. That's really exceptional. And we discourage them a little bit because we say, do you have enough resources for that? And they say, oh, okay. This is not our role. Our role is just to make sure that people do their best to make the difference, and WHO distinguishes for that. Before embarking on a monster like this, remember that feeding becomes really a challenge, and we can tell that from our experience. So lessons learned from the past and looking into the future. Thomas and I were really on that project. We became futuristic, and then now we sit down all together and say we need to rethink all of these things. What is the idea? Well, looking into the past is what mistakes we made or things that we wouldn't do any longer. And the future will be also important for us. And I can also anticipate that, telling you that we're getting one of the most revolutionary deduplication systems in the world now. It's under the University of Bern, right, Tini? If you can confirm that also.
Yeah, it's the University of Bern.
They have created this monster, and it started in 2021, right, Tini, also?
No, they started building this in 2016, and they had it ready in 2019, but they didn't launch it to the public until this year in August.
And this is really one of the best solutions, because we've been using Distiller SR because we replaced Covidence by Distiller, and Distiller was doing the deduplication, but we needed something to replace the manual daily deduplication that Tini and I have been doing for months, and also years. So this is the best solution we've been testing, and it's going to be implemented soon. We're working on that because this is, and Tini can tell you about results on this. Very briefly, she can tell you about some of the highlights for that for the time being.
Yeah, we're very, very excited about this process, this new process, because the precision is incredible. We have been spending around 6 to 8 hours to deduplicate every day for months. And then we decided to do it only twice a week or 3 times a week. And, we have been downsizing this so that we have more time to do other things. Now, if we just think about the cost of one person doing this every day and what we can have with this tool, we're talking about, if we do it just once a week, this solution is going to save us around it will cost us 1/3 of what it costs to do it like we were doing it right now. Mm-hmm. It's also much more precise than a person. It's really amazing. So we're really happy to start working with them.
Yeah, thank you very much. And it's the University of Bern, so it's a public institution. So this is why we also started this collaboration, which is very important for us. Is really excellent, and this is what Tini and team have been experimenting and working. Lessons learned from the past. Okay. Coordination of initiatives. For our surprise, it's been really the thing is that there were many other people working on their own trying to help for the pandemic. So our message is just get together. If there's another pandemic, we have already a working group on that. Let's work together before starting any other initiatives, because duplication of efforts and also resources will slow down also how we can fight against, let's say, a pandemic like this one. So we need to also have more dialogue on this. This was one of the most important lessons learned. And another thing is no more business as usual. Thomas and I were in that laboratory working on priorities here in the library and also making our users happy with the services they needed. But we needed to just be flexible and change our mind and then prioritize this new work. So all the regular, less important work has been abandoned for a few years, and we'll see how we can continue with some services that users needed. But the important thing is just to stop doing the usual normal library work with no perspective, also maybe thinking only on my point of view, and it's more open door policy, ready to help users. So it's more users driver needs that we need to do. Another thing is that don't work in silos and isolation. If you work in your organization only in one specific area, try to collaborate with others, because this is enriching, and then you never know, they can bring more ideas to your project. It can be accelerated, and also you can also help others faster than if you work on your little corner without looking beyond, or also thinking out of the box. Don't work in silos and isolation, because we are in an ecosystem approach. This is what we need to do. And if you have some planned priorities that you think are important, just think better on users' needs. This is the new trend, and in literature, we can see that it's more us going to the users and not waiting for the users to come to our library. Even if you have the open door policy, please disturb me. You need to be proactive in this case, and we did it. We listened to our users and we started this monster, and you see the results. The important thing is to impact people on the ground. You could see how many people are using this database, which was internally a document for only a few experts. So the thing is that we have to look forward and see how much impact has my work on other people. And in WHO, what we think is that it's important to promote health, also keep the world safe and serve the vulnerable. So this is our message, and we've been doing that. And this is one of the biggest projects we've been on in the library. So we're so happy to have done that. But just this is some lessons learned. There are many others, but these are the ones Thomas and I got. To conclude, very special thanks to Thomas Allen. Thomas Allen has been my friend. I arrived here in 2015. I was like, oh, working in a library, maybe it's boring in WHO, I don't know. You know, there's some libraries which may be boring for different reasons. They're too traditional. Also, they're limited in resources or any other problems that could arise. But when I arrived to this organization, I met Thomas, and he's been revolutionary for my way of thinking. He had a big influence in my professional life, and you cannot imagine how much I miss Thomas, because this laboratory without him is really it's very sad. We're trying to do our best here with my colleagues and friends here in WHO, but without Thomas, things are very difficult. I want to thank Thomas, even if he's not with us for the time being. I'm sure that then we're going to have many ways to thank him, and we're doing that. There's internally a way, they're looking to have some recognition for Thomas, and we're all supporting this. And we're so happy to have had this colleague and friend and mentor working together many hours, having fun, and also having a real vision and thinking about all of the users in order to promote health, keep the world safe, and then serve the vulnerable. And Thomas had that in mind, and this is the line of thinking we want to continue here in the library. So even if he's not here, we're missing him a lot. We're really following the way he was thinking, his creativity, also his spirit. He was always happy, smiling, and this is what we want to retain from him. And not only the memory that he was working here and he made this database possible, which is one of the most successful products of the library. Over.
Thanks a lot, Jose, for this touching words for the presentation, first of all, but also for this closure, ideal closure of this presentation. And I think I'm going to give the floor to questions now, of course, but I'd like to say one thing, that the best way, I think, to pay respect to him is to continue this work. By doing this, he's still alive with us, you see? And I think it's what you do is a great thing, not only because you serve the community, because you're so focused on the needs of the users and on the vulnerable, as you say, but also because you are continuing his job, and this is great. Thanks a lot. I open now question for the floor. Since we are not many, I suggest that if you feel like you want to ask questions, please simply unmute yourself and speak. And in the meantime, there are a few words of thanks in the chat. Please, any questions? I have several, but I want to refrain because I don't want to profit from my position as host. Please.
While people are thinking, I want to
Please.
also thank the library team in here. All have been very supportive recently, also after this situation. All of them have been key in continuing this project. And also to Ian Roberts, our library coordinator, who's been extremely supportive. And this is just to thank them too. Over.
While you're thinking, I have to select one among the many questions. But how many people are now working concretely every day on the, so to say, on feeding this this terrible monster? How many are you?
I think Tini can help me with that because I lost track of how many people are now working on that. Thank you, Tini.
So we have the team in Bireme. They're around 4 or 5 people in Brazil. And then to search for the search strategy, we have 2 people, and also they do the downloading the citations. And then, yeah, so it's Jose, Tinashe, Kavita, Marta, and I here in, doing this job,
And also the volunteers, right?
And then the volunteers, we have 3 that work mostly, and then 2 extra ones. 5 volunteers are involved in the database. Without them, we cannot function.
No,
because you must in the meantime also run the library, somehow. Even if you have to give priorities, you cannot maybe provide the same amount of work to your users, because you have an additional work that is absorbing part of your energy.
True.
You cannot close the library simply.
Jose is working for the library and for this project, and then we are this small group of consultants. So we're 3 consultants working for the database.
I see. Okay. In the meantime, there is a thanks from Florian Müller. Thank you, Florian. Thank you for this very interesting presentation, this great work. You made it very clear that it's not automatic, and there is a lot of manual labor behind the scenes. So bravo to them as well. Of course, there are, so to say, strategies of search very complex. There are programs, there are deduplication, but there's still a lot of intelligence and a lot of work also manual. It's not like pressing a button. Okay.
Yeah, you're right. We're trying to automate the most possible, right, Tini? And we're really starting to have a lighter version of the database, just to avoid less human resource people for that. So we're exploring that.
We're really trying to downsize. Before we have like 6-8 hours a day, and now we're trying to have something like 1 or 2 hours per week working on this.
I see. I have a question. Do you observe, it's very difficult, I guess, to say it off the top of your head, but do you observe an increase in the production? Do you see every month or every semester that the amount of papers published continues to increase, or is it stable?
We just discussed this afternoon. We are seeing a slow decrease now. We had some months ago, well, no, not months ago, last year, like a peak, a terrible peak. And now we can see that it's going down. We're still not sure because we don't see the trend yet in just a few months, but we're thinking that, yeah, it's going to slow down from now on.
Okay. Unless there is a new, so to say, surge of the pandemic, because probably also the increase of production is somehow related or correlated with the explosion of the infection in some areas, probably. I don't know. I have no idea. Any questions from the audience? You're very silent. You are so convinced that it's very hard, but there are plenty of questions. For example, that you are using, if I understand well, you are using the thesaurus to categorize them. Are you using, I don't know, the Global Index Medicus includes also thesaurus?
Well, this is more BIREME. They're using some sort of, let's say, thesaurus, and I don't remember exactly. It should be there in the. Oh yes, it's mesh. What they use mainly.
Okay. They use mesh.
This is more for for a specific area, and then we're using in some areas is more M3 from M-based also. Only that area of the database they are curating. But for enriching citations, because this is another aspect that we didn't mention, citations are gathered and uploaded into the database, but there's an enrichment process behind the scenes also is more automatic using mesh mainly. I'm not aware, or probably I'm not up to date with any other thesaurus that they are using, but this is more or less the main thesaurus they're using for the National Library of Medicine, which is mesh.
Okay.
Okay, there's many comments now in the chat system too.
Lots of thanks. Amazing work. Yes. Okay, I see. We have a user. We have an actual user, regular user of your database. And the search strategy, it's impressive. Your search strategy is of an enormous complication. So you run it every day, is it so?
It was at the beginning every day, right?
Not every day anymore. So now we do it once a week. And since we are into automatizing the manual deduplication, then we can work with more citations. So 1 week of citations is not such a big load. And just to say that the search strategy was started with Thomas created that search strategy, and then it's been updated several times.
Of course, to include new keywords that.
The vaccines, for example.
Of course, I saw.
They need to be updated.
Yeah.
So this has been done Yeah, in steps, because also we had the expertise of Martha from the CDC. So she has been helping a lot.
So it's an authentic worldwide collaboration. CDC is in the US. You have contributions from Japan. So it's an authentic worldwide collaboration.
Yeah.
See. Still waiting for questions. If there are, my curiosity, do you, in general, it's articles in journals, not that you index, but do you
We
index
also
also
have
books?
preprint. We have books.
You do.
We do have books. We have preprints and we have gray literature.
Okay, but it's a minority because the databases and the sites you're exploring mainly index articles in journals.
Yeah, mostly that.
Yeah, and initially it was only peer-reviewed articles, and then gray literature came after.
I see.
And also preprint.
And then with the emergency, preprints became really important. Yeah. Because until you wait until it's published, it takes very long time.
Of course.
So you can search the database by preprints and gray literature also, if you want, and also journal articles or book chapters or books also.
By document type, okay.
Exactly, by document type. It is one of the filters in there.
Among the filters, because I saw, but I don't remember, is there, for example, if I want to limit my search only to vaccines, for example, I'm not interested in the rest, is there a facet for this?
Or we don't have a filter for vaccines yet.
Okay.
But it's something that has been discussed, because we would like to have a filter for vaccines and we would like to have another for long COVID, for example.
Yeah, for example, some of the key hot topic, let's say.
Yeah, I can see it here now. There's a topic called vaccines in the database on the left part on top. So that's, I don't know if this is newly implemented. There's vaccines, long COVID variants, and we're working on there's already a filter on traditional and complementary medicine. This has been designed for a team here, and we're working on a new database for that too. So let's see what it happens. But we need to see resources, time, and human also resources. So to be confirmed and defined.
Okay, so it would be a separated database.
Yeah. There's already one in Brazil curated by Bireme. Okay. But we're that's more a general one, and there's going to be one which is more peer-reviewed, really high-quality research, which is going to be prepared soon. We're already working on that. There's the EndNote library already prepared for that. So it has started, but it's more peer-reviewed, high-quality papers. Where they are going to the content is going to be that.
While I satisfy my curiosity since everybody said, but I'm ready to stop talking if anyone wants to intervene. Did this huge amount of information you make available generate also a big flux of requests for articles? Some of these articles are maybe not open access, or are they? Are they all open access? Some of them, many of them? What's the percentage?
We have a filter for that.
Okay.
So we have a filter that tells you which ones are open access so that you can just see the article. And so if you just want to search for those, it's possible.
Okay. But in percentage, how much is it open access, the content that you're serving, the articles?
I can tell you here the full text. What I can see is 500,000 plus.
Okay.
Out of 728. The thing is that at the beginning, the number was higher because most of the publishers opened their archives or, well, their interfaces for open access, and now it's being closed again. So there's this.
But do you get many requests for papers? Could you please provide me this? I'm a researcher sitting here and there, etc.
At the beginning, yes. Now it's less and less because people are going back to their projects, and we have a document delivery service now here. Well, that's been for years, and this year we had around 1,000 requests for articles. Well, more.
But that's internal, right?
Internal only. Internal only. Because we don't provide access to external.
it's no, you cannot, and
No.
you would not have the resources, I'm afraid. Also, even
No.
even if you could open it, I mean, who would do
No.
it? It would be an enormous amount of
Yeah.
requests.
So just to clarify that the full text in here is links to the full text. So
Of course.
what you find is not a repository, it's a database, so we don't host any PDFs. At the beginning of the database, we were downloading them, storing them in Teams locally on our server, and sharing them with those entitled to.
Yeah, because the idea at the beginning, it was to serve the scientists and the decision makers inside of WHO, so there was no problem sharing the information internally.
Exactly.
Of course.
But when it opened, then
of course.
Yeah, this was the point there.
Did you get any offer or contact from someone who would be interested in managing this on a, what should I say? I'm not saying in a commercial way, but a publisher would be interested. Did you get any offer or contacts, or
not really?
No, everybody runs away from it.
The thing is that we've been approached by publishers who wanted to collaborate with us.
Okay.
And the one who which stays with us is Elsevier, because they're getting citations directly from us the same day before they go into database.
Yeah.
And they are enriched, and they are in exchange helping us deduplicate citations also. So there's this gentleman's agreement, because before it was going to be a memorandum of understanding that we never managed to finalize. We simply stayed like that as a gentleman's agreement only.
Of course, because there is no money changes, so to say, on here. There is no exchange.
No, we cannot. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Okay, look, I don't want to, so to say, monopolize, but as a matter of fact, I did. But I think it was interesting for everybody. Before closing, I'd like to mention something that I didn't mention at the very beginning, and something that should be said. The Library Science Talks is a series of presentations that are there to enrich our knowledge, professional experience by sharing information and this kind of experiences that are so enriching for all of us. And it's something that it's a joint venture between AILIS, which is this association of international libraries and information specialists based in Geneva, the CERN Scientific Information Service, and the Zentralbibliothek Zürich that I didn't mention at the very beginning. So sorry for forgetting this, Lena. So we are here preparing already the next season, 2023, with exciting topics and speakers. So stay tuned and check SwissLib, or if you are on the AILIS mailing list, you'll be alerted. And starting from next year, we should be able to go back to in-person presentations, or maybe hybrid, so partly in person, partly online, so that we would be able also to record presentations, because it's something that the community likes, to be able to watch this presentation if you didn't manage to attend. Okay, I wanted to say that. Thanks a lot to our speakers. It was moving, it was great, and yeah, and see you soon. And in person, which is going to be also very, very nice. Big pleasure.
Grazie, Tullio.
Prego. Pleasure. Bye, dear friends.
Bye-bye.
Bye, my friends. Ciao.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks. Bye-bye.